All right, so this is Todd Haywood, and I'm a digital and investigative journalist for WLNS. Joining me are Julie Vandenboom and Clara Martinez, two of the four candidates that will appear on the ballot in November for the at-large city council seats. Jeremy Garza, who is another candidate, declined to participate in this conversation. And Aurelius Christian, who is the other person who's appearing on the ballot, did not respond and has also posted that he has withdrawn from the race. So we are moving ahead with the two of you, and thank you so much. A brief apology to Clara. There was a kerfluffle with our quarantine system here in the email, so I didn't get her initial response back. So I appreciate you working with us, and I'm glad we could make this happen tonight. Really basic conversation here today. The goal, again, is to hear your ideas, your visions, your policy prescriptions, and really sort of try and flesh that out a little bit. We did a coin flip just before the recording started, and Clara won that coin flip, so she will start with a 2-minute opening comment.
Great. Well, thank you so much. My name is Clara Martinez, and for nearly a decade, I have taught in the Lansing Public Schools at Everett High School. I am a proud public school teacher, a proud union member, and social worker by training. Every day, I see how decisions are made at City Hall and how they are affecting our students, our families, and our neighborhoods, from housing to public safety and just basic city services. Our choices determine the kinds of city our kids will inherit after us. I'm running because I believe in Lansing's future. I want to ensure that we provide great opportunities for our children after high school. I want to make sure that we have safe and healthy neighborhoods that we all feel that we belong in. And I want to make sure we also have reliable city services: snow, grass, leaves, trash, all that good stuff. And we can't forget the sidewalks and roads. I want to make sure that I work collaboratively and ensure that there is action and results, particularly action that leads to results, right? And I want to know that progress is happening with our neighbors, with our residents, and with all of our stakeholders and constituents. I want to lead from a place of care and compassion, and I want to ensure that residents feel like the city is truly their home. So I want to thank you for your time today, and I hope to earn the people of Lansing's vote.
Okay. And Julie, you have 2 minutes.
Thanks. My name is Julie Vandenboom. I am the grassroots candidate for Lansing City Council at large. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Waverly High School in 1992. I went to Michigan State for my bachelor's and master's degrees, and I've lived here in the city itself since 2000. In working class neighborhoods on the east side and Old Town, and now back on the east side again. My day job, I work for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services as a program reengineering specialist. So I get to take things apart and put them back together again so they work more equitably, more efficiently. I've done time in policy analysis, planning, and evaluation before I had this position, and that's the lens that I'd like to bring to city government. As far as my work with the community, I have been on the board of the Capital Area District Libraries for the past year. I'm on the board of A Place for Us, which is a startup nonprofit working on solutions for our unhoused LGBTQ neighbors. I'm on the board of the Eastside Neighborhood Organization and Friends of Bancroft Park, and I have been heavily involved with the Rent is Too Damn High Tenants Union. I would like to bring compassion and empathy to city government. I think we've seen a lot of folks here in Lansing, a lot of our neighbors that are getting left behind. And it's important to me that we have solutions that bring everybody forward. My most important issue is affordable housing. I'm also concerned about safer intersections. So I want us to have safe roads and sidewalks, and that's whether you're biking, whether you're a pedestrian, or whether you're driving a car. And I also would like to focus on affordable energy.
Okay. And that is the end of the 2 minutes. So thank you both very much. The questions that I'm going to ask have been put together by me and only me. Nobody knows what the questions are. I take that back. I did share it with one of my colleagues, and she said she liked them. So, in fairness, that's where we're at. The first question I have is, for decades, Lansing has focused on developing downtown Lansing since the Hollister administration, right? We took out the Sin Strip, as Terry McCain called it, and built in the baseball stadium and stadium district, and we've focused on other housing finally in downtown. What will you do? And Julie, you're going to start first, and then Clara, you'll go second. What are your plans and your ideas and your vision for development in South Lansing, particularly? And Julie, I will start with you.
Thank you. I've knocked on about 7,500 doors so far in this campaign, and a lot of those have been in South Lansing. And folks there have definitely expressed concerns about the lack of care and attention that the city seems to give South Lansing. I do appreciate some of what's going on right now. Adam Hussein is an amazing leader in the third ward and has advocated for a lot of improvements down there in South Lansing. I think that if we look at folks that are there, the Southwest Action Group has been instrumental in bringing ideas and starting the conversation around what the Malcolm X Memorial might look like. I think that that's an important consideration. The other thing that's going on right now in South Lansing is the concerns around the juvenile detention facility, the expansion of that. I would like to see us, and again, based on conversations I've had with folks on their doorsteps, if there's a way that we can get South Lansing to be a little more walkable, folks, it's difficult with all the businesses being right on the main drags and the folks in the neighborhoods kind of set back from there. So if there's a way we could bring, like neighborhood grocery stores, I think that's something that we'd like to see, and go ahead and continue with the efforts that folks are putting in. I know that there's the redevelopment going on right now. I think it's at like Mount Hope in Washington. Going forward with projects like that, I think, is an important thing to do.
Okay. And that was actually 2 minutes, so that's perfect. And Clara, back to you. What is your vision? What is your idea for South Lansing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Julie and I are in agreement on the piece of walkability for sure. And I think a lot about, spending the last 9 years down there working with students at Everett. I spend a majority of time down there, right? Programming and in the classroom and things like that. And, over 60% of our population within the city lives on the south side. And I think a lot about Pleasant Grove and Holmes, right? And I know SSCC and SWAG are both down there. I think about Logan Square, and I also think about places where kids can go after school. Similarly to the concern of walkability, a lot of the time when kids have something after school, if they have to leave for a couple of hours and then come back for a practice, or they have to stay after school for a practice and then leave and then come back for a game or something like that, I think I would really want to see opportunities for kids to have places to be. If I could replicate, the Schmidt Community Center and put it, on every area that we could within neighborhoods or corridors, around, something like beyond a gas station, but maybe similarly to what Julie said, something like a grocery store, that would be great. But places where kids can feel safe and that they could spend a couple of hours and read a book or do some homework. And I think beyond that, anything that the residents of South Lansing would like to see.
Okay. And you also made it at just 2 minutes. So you guys are doing great. I may actually have to make another question. So look, the polling shows that public safety is top concern for residents in the area. However, our data, both nationally and locally, shows that violent crime has been decreasing over the last couple of years. we do have some issues as it relates to drag racing on our streets. So if you're elected to city council, what will you do to address the perception of a crime situation? And we're going to start with Clara, and then we'll go to Julie.
Sure. So I think that there are a couple of pieces to that, right? To address the drag racing and the overzealous speeding and driving, I think a piece of that is ensuring that we can have more signage. Even, when they have the piece of, I don't know the exact term for it, but when they show, what speed you're going, I feel like that always helps, because in a lot of ways, in our modern society, people are just in a hurry. I think it's beyond the culture of just Lansing. Obviously, it's affecting us locally, but it's really important to think about how we are living our lives at just like hyper speed, and taking the time to slow down, take a breath. We'll get there. We don't have to rush. And I think feeling more connected to the pedestrians that are on the sidewalks and the sides of the street. I've definitely felt that way, knocking doors, hoping that everyone just slows down a little bit. So whether that's more signage or just keeping a radar on how fast people are going, that would be helpful. With regards to public safety, I think the best thing that I can do in this situation as a social worker is listen. The perception of crime versus the statistics, if there's a gap there, then we can absolutely have listening sessions, places for people to gather and share their concerns of what feels safe to them, even if crime is in theory going down. There's still a perception or a sensitivity to ensuring that they feel physically and psychologically safe. So I think the best thing we can do is listen, and then go from there with what initiatives they'd want to see.
Okay. And that was 1 minute, 45 seconds.
No, we had some practice last night, Haywood.
Yeah.
Billy and I have been getting a lot of practice in lately.
Good.
Say we've been doing this for a little while now.
All right, Julie, it's on to you now.
Okay. So I think it is very interesting that any time that we have public perception that is significantly different from what the facts are telling us. So my first question is, we see these statistics that show that violent crime is decreasing, but where are those statistics coming from? I'd like to drill down a little bit further into those statistics and figure out whether it actually is decreasing. Now, I've seen the numbers on gun crime. Those definitely seem to be going down. But I'm hearing anecdotal stories from folks when I'm at the doors about, people that are being attacked, even in their own yards, people that are getting into altercations, and the police are not taking the report seriously. And I actually, in the course of this campaign, have received a death threat, and it took the police 10 days to follow up with me about the details around that threat, and to talk to me about what we might be able to do going forward. So sure, that is there's crimes I think that are happening that are not getting reported, that are going to definitely add to people's concerns about the way they feel, the safety that they feel in their homes. As far as the drag racing, it's a two-pronged approach there. We need to kind of change the way some of the roads are laid out. We have roads that are built that allow people to go fast. There's several ways that you can get around that. There's speed bumps, there's chicanes, there's traffic circles, and also we need to improve some enforcement. I know that the police department is short. I don't even know what the number is right now, 10 or 12 officers. If we could get a couple more folks out there pulling people over, I think it might make a big difference. And then finally, when we talk about public safety, it is not always about police and enforcement. It is about people that are feeling safe, people that have a place to live, people that have health care, people that have enough food to eat. If we have folks that are getting their basic needs met, including housing and health care, we're going to see a much safer environment for all of us.
Okay. And that alarm, just so you know, was my 2 minutes are up warning. So
I couldn't
You
even
still
hear it.
went over like you were like 215, 216, something
Okay.
like that. So we're still doing really great on time. You are going to make me have to ask you another question, which is great. Um, so we know that there is a housing crisis in Lansing, in the greater community. The Tri-County Planning Commission has pointed it out. We're thousands of units short of what we will need as economic development continues on the course that has been laid out. And much of what we have is substandard or unaffordable. So, what is your vision and your plan to address housing and the housing crisis? And Julie, we'll start with you, and then Clara,
Yeah.
you'll follow up.
So the prescription that I like to follow comes from the Strong Towns books. I don't know if you're familiar with those at all, but Charles Marone has written a series of books. The first one is called just Strong Towns, and then there's some others that follow on that. And the idea there is that neighborhoods need to be responsive, and we need to be able to make changes quicker than we are making them today. Um, Code compliance is important. You know, we don't want people to live in substandard housing, but if it takes a long time for folks to pull permits to build new housing, that's going to be hampering to new buildings. What I would like to see the city pursue, and the council did get a start on this in the past couple of months, is changing the zoning to allow for multiple types of housing. So things like boarding houses, co-ops, accessory dwelling units or ADUs. And it's an approach that's called gentle densification. So it's just this idea of incrementally developing where we already have infrastructure in place. And so you're not like changing the character of the neighborhood, but you're building onto it. And if it's done correctly, it will be a slow solution, but it's going to definitely help in the long run toward getting housing more affordable.
Okay. And that was 1 minute, 30 seconds. So, and Clara, your response.
Thank you. So I think that this is definitely a multi-pronged approach as well. There are a variety of different factors we're looking at, right? Not just an aging housing stock, but ensuring that good acting landlords and folks that are have good intentions and mean well are able to upkeep their properties and also hold bad landlords accountable or those that are being negligent. I think it's a matter of also developing attainable housing for folks and ensuring that they have access to those resources. So I'm interested in, collaborating and partnering with nonprofits and different agencies who are able to get those resources to those that are interested in becoming homeowners. I think it's also really important to develop a variety of different housing because we want to attract and retain a variety of different folks that are interested in loving our city. We need folks to stay here and want to stay here and feel that whatever kind of housing they are in, it suits them and it makes them feel like they belong. And I think a big piece of feeling like you belong is having different kinds of housing available to you. For example, my tiny exposed brick studio apartment is something that I feel very comfortable and at home in, and it's in the heart of, Michigan and the farther east side. And so it makes me feel connected to who I am as a person, but also to my community. And so I think a variety of different kinds of housing, helping our aging housing stock, and ensuring that homeowners have access to the resources that they need to upkeep their homes.
Okay. So we actually do have time for one more question. So Clara, you will start with this and Julie, you will follow up. And this one is coming off the top of my head, so I apologize. But you've both talked a lot about wanting to do things like upgrade the roads to slow down the drag racing, or talking about different housing options and maybe helping landlords and that sort of stuff. How are we going to pay for it? Lansing has consistently been underfunded in revenue sharing for decades. So how are we going to pay for it? And Clara, we'll start with you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a big piece of that comes back to ensuring that we have a strong tax base, right? And I think that this is where a lot of these issues become very connected to one another. You want folks to stay here, so you have to provide amenities, you have to provide strong schools, great roads and neighborhoods, and opportunities for them to experience a thriving downtown, and also beautiful parks and different things like that. So in order to get people to stay here, you have to provide these things. Then they'll be able to contribute to the tax base. Then we'll have more funds to work with. But I think beyond that, it's a matter of building relationships and partnerships with folks at the state to be able to advocate for funds. As a teacher and a social worker, one of the things that I really pride myself most on is being able to build relationships with folks. We don't have to see eye to eye on everything. We can respectfully disagree on a lot of things, but if we can have one point of connection or one value that we can share, that we care about for our community, then we can bring something home that is resourceful for all of us. So I think it's kind of a two-way thing, and also it informs itself, right? In order to have more money, we need more people, and in order to care for more people, we need more money. So
Okay. All right. And then Julie.
Sure. Concrete cost savings. I think there's a number, I think it's about 60% of our fire department calls, it might even be more than that, are what they classify as nuisance calls. So it's not a true emergency. And in these situations, the ambulance goes out, the fire truck goes out, and that costs money to send those out there. If we could do medical taxis, kind of like they do in Detroit, to take some of the pressure off of the fire department, we'd be able to reduce that budget and take that cost savings somewhere else. Second, let's stop giving tax breaks to developers without setting some community benefits agreements in place. So routinely developers get these sweet deals where they don't have to pay the taxes that they normally would have to pay. And there's typically a promise, well, we're going to bring this many people in to live here and be part of the tax base, or we're going to give you this many jobs as we're building the stuff. We need to give community benefits agreements with teeth in them. So if we don't get what's promised from these developers, we're able to claw back and get them to pay some of the taxes that we're giving away to them. Also, I would love us to see if we could do a vacancy tax for businesses and for homes that are sitting empty and the owners are not doing anything to get people into those. So if we could make a little extra money that way as well.
Okay. So we are at a point now where I don't want to run out of time and have the Zoom just die on me. So we're going to go ahead and do closing statements. I really appreciate both of you being really clear in your ideas. It's nice. It's nice to see the brevity as well. So Clara, I believe you started, right? Because you had so you'll start with the final closing statement.
okay, thank you. Well, thank you again to WLNS for having both of us, and thank you specifically to Haywood. I really appreciate your ability to reach out and connect to us and create this opportunity. So thank you so much. Again, my name is Clara Martinez. I'm a public school teacher in the Lansing School District at Everett High School, and I've really been inspired to run because of my kids. I want to ensure that they have opportunities to thrive after high school. I want to ensure that we have safe and vibrant neighborhoods, and then we also have reliable city services, snow, grass, leaves, trash, and that we repair our sidewalks and roads. This election is about our future, and I see a lot of hope and brightness in my classroom each day, which is why I've been inspired to run for city council. And so I hope to be one of your 2 votes and ensure that we have things to look forward to for generations to come. So thank you so much.
So you still have a full minute if you want to use it. If not, that's okay. All right.
Thanks again.
All right. Julie, I am ready to restart the clock for you, and it's your closing statement.
Thank you. I'd also like to say thank you. I know that it was a little bumpy getting this put together with the spam folder and whatnot. So thank you, Clara, and thank you, Haywood, for putting this together and sticking with it. I'm Julie Vandenboom. I am a candidate for Lansing City Council at large. And what sets me apart from other candidates on the ballot is that I am a grassroots candidate. I'm not taking any money from big developers. I'm not taking any corporate PAC money. That sets me apart from the other folks that you'll see on the ballot. I believe that Lansing is a great place, but we are leaving some of our neighbors behind. And I would like to be a voice to bring compassion and empathy to city government and to really focus on people as we're making decisions and as we're moving the city forward.
And you also kept it to under a minute. So thank you both so much for doing this and scrambling from the technology issues. It is so appreciated. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording now. And if you guys could hang for just 1 second, I
Sure.
would appreciate it.